Hello and welcome to another video, and the Wasteland update has just dropped for Space Engineers. So we're going to go through the update, what is new, for free, what is paid DLC, and what I think it'll change in how you're going to build in Space Engineers with the new blocks. But here we are, moving through sort of the Grand Canyon of the new planet, and as we come upon our showcase platform, let's take a look at everything that has been added. Zooming in down here to my engineer, we'll transfer into him and I'll just quickly change the sun so we get some nice good light on these things. So first off is the free part of the DLC. So everyone's going to get this, your Space Engineers will update and you'll just have access to these. One of the biggest things is armor shapes, and we have been wanting armor shapes for a long time, and they're finally here. We have 11 new shapes that are going to allow us to fix those places where armor just wouldn't properly meet. And if you played Space Engineers enough, you know what I'm talking about. You have these little corners and you're like, why can't I just put a block there that fits? And you get so like, am I going to have to completely redesign my armor so that corner doesn't exist? Or am I just going to ignore it? Or do I have to install a mod in order to have that armor shape? Now, no longer. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can just use one of these 11 to plug into that hole. They are absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy they exist. Can't wait to use them in my worlds. So that way I don't have to run Armor Extensions mod, and these essentially replace it, which is quite excellent. Moving on to the next is we do have the new planet. And so with the new planet, we have new voxels. We have Cracked Ground, Dusty Rocks versions 1, 2, and 3, along with Pertam's Sand. So if you take a look at those from up top here, nice, good looking, sandy, sort of dry, this is like a dry riverbed. This is more of just badlands, deserty kind of stuff for the different rock variations. And then some obvious sand dunes with the Pertam Sand. I really like the footprints we're getting out of it as well. Moving on from that, a rover cockpit. So this is a new cockpit that, very interestingly, is even symmetry. So where the other cockpits and such have odd symmetry, so they're 3 wide, this has even symmetry, it's only 2 wide. So instead of it being the center of the middle block being the symmetry point, it would be the seam between the 2 blocks is the symmetry point. So I think this would make for nice small rover designs. You could have a thinner rover. You could even use these as, say, 2 of them side by side with a block between them to give them back into odd symmetry, and use them as basically just regular seats that are a bit more functional than passenger seats. I really like these things. I think I can essentially replace passenger seats with these in the future as I knock it around here. And if we pop into one, we can take a look. It's got multiple screens on it. It's got the wheels on it, like the steering wheel there. I think it looks good. Moving on from there, hydrogen rebalance. Oh yes, this is the other part of the update that I was just so excited to see. Hydrogen for the longest time has been not really that efficient to use. You mine a bunch of ice, it takes a lot to turn it into hydrogen, then you fly your ship with it, and you run out of hydrogen, and you have to go back and mine more ice, and it was just this constant cycle. So what they've done is they've made it vastly more efficient. So you're going to get twice as much hydrogen per unit of ice, your hydrogen engine and hydrogen thruster are twice as efficient. They're going to do the same thing they did before, but they're going to use half the amount of half the amount of hydrogen to do that. So, because you're getting twice as much hydrogen from ice, and you're using half as much hydrogen to get a result, that means you're getting 4 times your fuel capacity sort of thing out of each unit of ice. That 1 unit of ice is going to go 4 times longer than it did before. Then you add that on top with about a twice increase in tank capacity, means that your ship that you had previously, if you filled it with hydrogen and went off on an expedition, because you're getting double ice to hydrogen, double the efficiency of your thrusters, and you have double capacity, you're going to go 8 times longer on that ship before you have to stop and refuel. So that's great. That is going to solve a lot of the hydrogen issues that I've had when I've been trying to make hydrogen only ships, and where I've had to install a mod in the past in order to make things more efficient so that I could make hydrogen only ships. Now I don't need to. I'd still love to see this as a slider, like a difficulty slider in the game settings, but I will take this update and with great thanks. But moving on. There we got a new planet, Pertam. Oh, there's the planet there. Now, I have spawned this world in as the solar system. It is in the solar system. This is the one that spawned. This is one I just made so that I could, look up at it and be that it's a cool little image. But in terms of where it is, we've got Earth about 4K away. Mars is 5.5. Triton is 4.5. Alien is 7.6. So if I fly very quickly to Earth, I believe that my little showcase platform over there, 4K, it's realistically most of the way to Alien, but in like the opposite direction. So it is as remote as Alien, pretty much, if you wanted to get to Pertam. And in terms of size, if we have that showcase platform there and we try to place it in the center, right there, and then go to the surface, we can get an idea of its natural spawning size is 60 kilometers of diameter. So it is smaller planet than the Earth-like and such. So just keep that in mind. But back to my showcase planet, showcase platform here. And continuing on, there is a new scenario called Scrap Race. It is a multiplayer scenario, so you'll need some friends to do this. So I can't play it because I have no friends. I'm just kidding. You can play it solo as well. It is heavily scripted. It is a race. You have to have a few minutes at the beginning. You get to create a ship, modify it, screw around with it, add armor, do whatever you want. Then you get unleashed onto the track, and it's whoever gets around the track fastest. No rules, pretty much. Build turrets, shoot your opponents, ram them, knock them off the road. There are obstacles, there's crates falling from the sky, there's turrets along the pathway that'll shoot at you with missiles. You have to dodge the missiles as you're racing along. That was just from me doing a practice run by myself. I can't wait to see what this will be like with an entire large group of people that are doing this in a multiplayer scenario, maybe a competition of some sort. So, scrap race scenario, that is awesome. And that is, along with, say, I'm just looking at the patch notes here, some performance improvements, VST dedicated server support. whatever that means. Wheel and boot prints, which we've shown over here. Boop, 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 boop prints. That is pretty much it for the free stuff. And I'm just going to make sure that sun doesn't set behind the planet I created so that I can still have light. Next up is the paid DLC. So this will cost you $3.99 USD or your regional equivalent. For me in Canada, it cost me $4.65. And let's get into it. The Viewport block. This is sort of the new window block, but it is much smaller. Where before, the window you needed like left, center, and right, and you needed to make an actual proper window. Do it this way, like this, and this was, you know, that thing, or maybe if you just put like left then right, that was the smallest window you could make previously. Now you have this little viewport, and it's just a nice little window. This is the kind of size of window and the reinforcement look to it that you would expect on a sort of space ship. It looks really durable. It's got two different variations. One that has just the flat panel there on both sides, and then this one has the exposed panel with exposed wiring and tubing and such. And if we go around the back side, it also has that exposed wiring. I really like those. And then the stuff in the corner here is just one of the new armor blocks, just to round off that corner, which you can do now. So I've got this as a little just jut out, take a look, a viewing platform sort of feel. Next up, the exhaust block. This will be awesome because it is a way that you can generate particle effects on demand the way you want it. If we turn them on here, we've got smoke, fire, lightning. We pop into this. We can take a look at our different exhaust, and we've got so many choices. Car smoke, electric arc, fire, fire and smoke, smoke, different colors, smoke reactor. So this will probably be like the greenish radioactive smoke as well. There's so many different options. Essentially any particle effect that's in the game, you can just make, snap of your fingers on demand. This is for large and small block, so you can put these on the tails of your cars, you can put these off of your engine and then fire them based on timers or a script, and you can create all sorts of wonderful effects. I can't wait for someone to go and I can't remember which exhaust pipe was that. Smoke reactor. This one. I'll change it back to electric arc. What I would love to see is someone who has like this, say like a modded railgun or some big weapon, and they create this sort of like arc effect where they have exhaust blocks the entire way down their barrel, and they have this like zapping electrical effect, and then they fire, and it's all set up to timers. Or you have like, you can just make so many different effects while you're doing something. You do something really cool, and you could have like your ship needs to cool down, where something's open with rotors or hinges, and then they're venting smoke, like you've like a big rig truck that has their exhaust pipes, and then they have that flap on the top that opens up, and then just smoke billows out, and then it closes, the smoke stops. You can make that with exhaust block. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people do with that. Next up is the Buggy Cockpit, which is essentially the same as the Rover Cockpit. It's the same basis of, same size and such, but it's just got a little bit more detail, a little bit more flair to it. It's got the roll cage on it, which is part of its geometry. Quite nice. Don't bump your head. The LCDs are a little bit easier to see on here compared to the Rover Cockpit, where the Rover Cockpit you have to look down for them. But of course, you can always put your own LCDs up front if you want to. But yeah, I like it. It's the same thing. It's got even symmetry. You can basically use it in the same spot you would do with the other cockpit. That was for free. We have 4 new skins. Retro Future, very shiny. Kind of like the reinforced plate sort of feel to it. And also all of these skins are the same armor color as the platform here. So just to get some consistency between them. We have Heavy Rust, where it is quite literally just, it's just rust. That's all it is. Like, there is no indication that there is the original color here. It's just rust. Some Dust Skin, which I think looks amazing. It's just that little bit of dirt. Just the bit. It's normal armor with a sprinkling of dust, which I think would go perfect for Mars bases, anything exterior on any of your bases. They're gonna get a little bit dirty, but not like super rusty dirty, but like a little bit dirty. I love this skin. Can't wait to use it. And then finally, Concrete. Oh, this looks great. It's concrete. Now, I kind of wish we actually had a concrete block that would then give us the ability to use up all of our excess gravel that we have, which I'm currently just, whenever I have gravel, I'm just ejecting it into a hole that I have so that it eventually despawns. But a concrete skin means that you can have your bases, foundations look the part and not look like you're building out of armor, but actually the appropriate substance for what you probably would be building out of if you're building a bunker, a pillbox, an actual base. This looks great. Moving on from there, the barred window. These are small blocks, only for small grid. They are just little barred windows. Very similar kind of thing to the large block vertical windows. Kind of. You know? Same concept. It's a block with slats. It's the same thing. So, I don't believe that these are... I don't think that they would be airtight. So, you could just use them as little grills, fins on things. That's, just a little decorative block. Offset lights. I'll make sure I'm not... My sun isn't going to go behind that planet I spawned in. Now, this is cool because these are headlights, yet they're attached to a block instead of being a block themselves. Where normal headlights, you would probably want to use a spotlight or something like that, and it occupies an entire block space. This is just a little attachment. It's just a little thing on the front, like that. As you can see, they're lying flat. I think they look cool. They're quite easy to slap onto the front of something, and you got the different designs to it. So it'd be very easy to add some directional light to whatever you've made. And if I make this dark here, you can see that, yes, they are actually throwing light out in this direction. Very interesting. And maybe it looks like this guy is more of a local light, and this guy's actually like a headlight. Oh, cool. I didn't realize that before I put this to night. And also, those look great at night. The fire effect, holy crap. That throws off so much light. You could literally have an entire base lit by fire. I'm excited for that. Bring the sunlight back up here. More on our decorative stuff, we have storage shelves. These take a very different amount of resources depending on which one you are building. So let me just clear my bar here and plop them in. So you can see that storage shelf 1, interior plates, small steel tubes, construction components. Number 2 has metal grids, power cells, motors, all sorts of stuff. Number 3 has gravity components, thruster components, superconductors, like reactor components. It varies greatly as it is actually what's on the shelf. So if we look at it here, we can see that, this first one is a bunch of basic materials. Now, there's power cells. They're strapped in here. That's interesting. There's all of our higher level components and such. So, I'm not sure. We could try it out right now. I have my inventory. I need a grinder of some kind. Because normally when you grind down... I can't remember, is that still in the game? When you grind down a battery, you don't get the power cells back? If I grind down one of these... Oh, I'm on creative, so it's not going to work properly, but I wonder if you could use these as, like, loot containers in that sense. You know? Oh, I found a shelf, and it's got the items I need, so therefore, you know, I can grind it down and take the items from it. It'd be kind of interesting. It'd be interesting if, though, what would be the best, and I don't think it would happen, but what would be absolutely the best is if this was dynamic and these were storage containers. Just like the little, what are they called? Crates, right? They're somewhere in the decorative blocks. They're the little storage containers. Yeah, freight. Imagine these with like a little inventory of their own, but when you put something in the inventory, it showed up dynamically as being on the shelf. That would be amazing. I would love to see that, but I don't think it's going to happen. But these are, those little decorations. You can put these in your engineering bays, your garages, and it just looks like you've got some resources on hand. And then if you need those resources, you can just grind them down. Next up is a Scavenger Skin, which I am actually currently wearing. No, I don't want a quick load. I want to... spectator camera. And if we come on in here... Scavenger Skin. Let me do a 180 here and get some better sunlight for that. It's very dusty, very rusty too. It is a engineer who has been down on the planet just doing his best to survive. He's got the cracked eyepiece there, the helmet that looks just like wrapped with cloth. Make a movie reference here, but it kind of looks like in The Force Awakens, Rey's original sort of outfit, where she's got those goggles and the wrapped cloth around her head. It kind of feels like that, some sort of, wasteland scavenger, which is what she was at that point in the movie. Moving on. The last thing I have here is the OffRoad Wheels. These guys are a beaut. They got these holes in them, the different suspension, which I think looks amazing. I haven't tested them all yet. I believe they are going to be functional the same as the normal wheels, and they probably should be functionally the same, but they just look cool. They look gnarly. Look at that big tread on this. Looks like it could just rip up a mud patch real quick. And of course, they've got big block, they've got small block versions, they've got the 1x1, 3x3, the 5x5, all of the sizes that you want. And the last thing is we have some emotes. 2 emotes. This first one, what is this? Is Bite Me and Drunk. So when we get in my position here, I believe this one is the... Bite Me. Oh, there was a little chin flick at the end. Sort of feeling to it. Bite Me. And then the last one here, Drunk. Where your character is just a little inebriated, or... I could also see this being used as like a post-crash dizzy concussion kind of field as well, if you wanted to use it for that. So, hey, people who want to RP and use some of the emotes, and you've got 2 more to work with. But overall, minus some other changes, some small changes that I didn't include here, a bunch of little improvements and fixes and such, that is the update for the Wasteland DLC. I am very excited about it. Can't wait to incorporate some of these wheels and such into my lineup of rovers that I'm creating, and especially the armor shapes. Thanks for watching. Good hunting out there, fellow space engineers.